You come down here while I'm stretched, I'll be glad to do your survey.
It's not so much a survey as it is like an interview.
Okay.
You want to do it over there?
If you don't mind, because I can't just stop and not be stretching.
Yeah, can I grab my other camera? All right. How far do you go?
Just an hour. I just take the far outer. I don't take restoration. I take the full perimeter.
The main loop?
Yeah. Oh no, not main. I go off that to Bosque, Ferndale, all those things that can come back up.
Okay.
Great.
That was awesome.
I'm doing training.
What are you training for?
I'm going to Tennessee to hike for a month.
Oh, wow.
So you just don't want to show up.
No. You will regret that instantly.
2,500 elevation.
Okay.
Start hiking.
Are you okay if I record it?
Sure.
Okay. What's your first name?
Milton, M-I-L-T-O-N.
I'm Anthony.
Nice to meet you, Anthony.
Pleasure. So feel free to do your stretching. You don't even have to look at the camera.
Okay.
This is going to be kind of interesting. I have a hobby where I'm doing something called street epistemology, which is a way of questioning a person's belief, whatever belief you have, your position on some sort of social issue, your view that karma is real, maybe you're certain that you've seen a ghost, if you think a God exists. We pick one of those beliefs, and then I ask questions to gently challenge how you could be so sure that that belief is true.
Okay. So fired up.
Yeah. And I set the timer for 5 minutes. So the more closely aligned you are to the belief, the more important the belief is to you, the more interesting the conversations tend to be.
Okay.
So is there a particular belief that we can select that you really think is true, that I can gently challenge with some questions?
If you'll repeat them.
Yeah, I will. I will be glad to repeat my questions, and if they're confusing in any way, please let me know.
Just the choices that you outlined.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Do you think a God exists? Do you believe in karma?
Yes.
Do you think that you've ever seen a ghost?
I've seen Santa Claus.
You've seen Santa Claus?
Seriously.
Of these beliefs, which ones tend to influence how you behave?
God.
God one. Can we talk about that one?
You bet.
Okay. How certain on a scale from 0 to 100 are you that a God is real?
100.
There's no question in your mind?
None whatsoever.
Okay. 100%. What are the main reasons why you can say that you're 100% sure that there's a God?
Because I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I've been sober 30 and a half years.
Okay.
And there's nothing except being higher than me that could have made that happen.
Have you ever met anyone who has also battled addiction and was able to get through it without believing in a God?
Yes, but not happily. They struggle mightily. They're dry. They're still miserable. They're fighting it on a daily basis. I specifically think of one in particular guy that I've known for 12 years since I moved here. He refuses to believe in a God, and yet that's his choice.
Okay.
It's mine. We have free choice, we have free will.
Are you believing in the God because you think he's real?
I believe that there is a spiritual entity greater than my human knowledge.
Because you survived addiction?
Not only survived addiction, just because, I believe, there has to be a designer for the design.
Okay.
These are my beliefs.
Right.
I've had many incidents in my life that were literally inches and seconds and millimeters away from disaster. And I still question it at age 60 and a half. Why me? Why not some other guy that survives? I feel like I do have some purpose, and the purpose that I have right now is to help other people that are struggling with addiction and with alcoholism, and help guide them down the path that somebody did for me 30 and a half years ago. So it's given me a purpose.
The belief is giving your life purpose.
And I may be completely wrong, but I'd rather have an experimental quest with seeking a higher power and be wrong than to live an existence and just think, okay, when the lights go off, the lights go off. And if the lights go off and the lights go off, what difference did it make? If it gave me purpose and being and hope. I mean, look at religion. They're out killing people on a daily basis, but it gives billions of people comfort. Maybe a total joke. We won't know. This could be one big cosmic joke. It could be, do I believe in heaven and the angels and sitting on 5 thrones and all that stuff? I don't know. That was written by a man. Or men.
Well, how can you be 100% sure if you don't know?
It's called faith. I have to have faith.
You having faith is allowing you to be 100% sure that your God is real.
For me. So the difference in faith and belief is, if you imagine that I had a tight wire just across here, and said, actually a pretty good distance up, maybe 10 feet up in the air.
Yeah.
Do you believe that I could push a wheelbarrow across it? Possibly. That if I was a tight wire artist and had done this before, that I could push, you believe I could push a wheelbarrow across? Stipulate, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you have enough faith to get in the wheelbarrow?
Okay. Are you saying that faith will allow anyone to conclude anything is true?
It's an individual journey for each person. I believe there's as many paths to spirituality or higher power as there ever have been or ever will be people on the planet. It's all an individual journey. Some people choose to not believe, and that's their right and their privilege. But for myself, I have seen my past experiences give me the confidence today to believe that I have that 100% faith.
Are you at any level worried that, let's say that you one day discovered that faith was not a reliable way to conclude that anything was true? Would you still want to maintain a belief in a higher power because you would be worried about slipping back into addiction?
That's a reasonable question that I don't have a specific answer for. But I have been tried and tested over 30 years with some really tough situations, and didn't have to turn to a substance to soothe myself or to bury myself, to crawl into again. I've gotten extremely angry at God. It turns out He's a lot bigger than I am, so it doesn't really bother Him. And God is really just a descriptive term for just a lack of a better way of saying it. It could be Father Nature, Mother Earth, the spiritual, you name it. I just use God because I grew up, in a Christian faith, and I don't know any better. But I don't like the church.
I'm not so much interested in these institutions and the doctrine.
So I don't need an institution.
Yeah, I'm more interested in how people are concluding that these things are real. However, I'm always a little trepidatious when I encounter somebody who is convinced that the belief is preventing them from slipping back to harmful behaviors.
Don't know that it is or isn't, but I'm not willing to risk it.
Yeah, neither am I. So I think at this point I want to end the talk because my questions can often be somewhat challenging, but I don't want to harm people by asking these questions.
You won't harm me. It's that simple. I mean, if you hit me, you might. But I mean, challenging my beliefs, I've got enough confidence in them and experience over 60 years of life.
If you One last question.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Possibly last question. I tend to say that and then I ask for 4 more. If you started embarking from this day forward on a journey of trying to believe things that were true, and I'm not saying that you weren't already doing that, but let's say that you, a year later, realized, you know what, I'm not convinced that there's any higher power. I'm okay saying that I probably got through that difficult time without some entity making sure that it happened. How would your life be any different a year from now if you found yourself moving from the 100% down to like a 2?
I don't see it happening. I mean, I've just got too much history.
That wasn't really quite the question. The question was, if you did find yourself moving down on the confidence, how would your life be any different?
I think it would be a lot less fulfilling. I think that the fact that I didn't have something to turn to in times of need or in times of joy to appreciate, it's kind of empty any other way.
Okay. Your life would have less meaning if you didn't believe in a God.
True.
Okay.
You weren't expecting these results, were you?
I never know what to expect. I've learned to expect the unexpected. Yeah. Do you want to believe true things?
What is truth? It's interpretation.
What do you think the word true means?
Gosh, well, it can mean a lot of things. And I could take a 2x4. Is it true in its length or is it warped? You know, is it true that is steel over there? Is that true? Well, who defines steel? Why is it not bada bing? You know. But
okay.
So
okay. How do you feel about words in general and dictionaries?
I really like dictionaries. I really like words.
You really like dictionaries?
I'm an avid reader. I still look up words. I can understand a lot of them in context when I see them in a sentence or a paragraph. But I think, well, what was the writer actually using that word for? Why did he use that word? And I'll look it up and go, I think he was showing off.
What goes through your mind when you encounter a word that is appearing, let's say younger kids, they might be using some word that conflicts with how you are used to seeing that word being used?
Well, a lot of it makes us uncomfortable because we fear our beliefs are being challenged.
Just by word changes? Word usages?
For instance, the word sick to me means someone who has an illness. But apparently about 8 years ago it became a term for that's really cool or hip. That's so sick.
Yeah.
And I just like, okay. And I can let those people that want to do that be. I don't need to straighten them out.
Okay. Do you adopt the usage as well?
No, I didn't. I see that as, that's not appropriate for me. This is something I'm not interested in. I mean, I remember my youth, we had interesting words and terms and things like that. But
yeah. If this discovery of that word usage happened to you 30 years ago, do you think that you would be more open to using that?
Oh yeah, just peer pressure.
Peer pressure?
Well, just, you know, I want to be like everyone else. I want to fit in and adapt and be. And that's how slang, perpetuates itself.
Okay. You would be more open to changing the usage of a word if you had been exposed to that change at a younger age.
I think that I have enough common sense to realize that's just being used as a slang term. There are many of them out there that take normal words and they have a new connotation just based on what's the zeitgeist of the moment.
Okay. And you're reluctant to go with word change usages.
Don't know that that's true. You got an example?
Well, you had a really good one. Sick. I mean, if 90% of our population started using the word sick to mean cool, do you think that you would have more of a tendency to go with it?
Probably just out of lack of resistance. It's It's just like the tolerance of cell phones.
Yes, I remember going to the grocery store and
Scowling.
We'd scowl when we saw somebody walk by on a phone, right? But we don't do that anymore, do we?
And I've even gotten where when they're standing there doing this, talking to it on a speakerphone. Now that would something that would have historically enraged me because it's an intrusion on my rights, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And yet now I give up because it's too overwhelming. It's too omnipresent.
Right. Yeah, I distinctly remember my parents and myself, when you first saw those people on cell phones, you thought they're showing off, they're being arrogant. Maybe there was a little bit of jealousy too, because they had something, that I didn't. But nowadays, we don't even blink when we see somebody walk by doing this with their speakerphone and talking to it. Okay, so...
I don't know that I don't blink, but I do scowl. But I don't confront them anymore. It's just not worth it. They are so oblivious to our planet.
Oh, okay. It still perturbs you.
Yes.
Okay. Is this a behavior that you do yourself?
No, I don't. I'm trying to be very mindful of when I'm on the telephone or when I'm using, a phone or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Then again, I come from a much different generation.
Yeah.
We had one phone in the house.
Okay.
The other day I thought, I miss the days where people had one phone in the house in the middle and you stood and talked about it. Because it cut back on a lot of nonsense.
I don't know if I miss those days at all. Okay, so just to bring this full circle, we recognize that word usages can change over time. We recognize that social norms can change over time, like the usage of cell phone or putting something on speakerphone. To bring this full circle to believing in a God, if things were different and our culture, 90% of our culture really didn't believe in any gods, you happen to be raised in a family that didn't believe in any gods, yet you encountered these difficult periods of time where you struggled with substances. Do you think that you would have been more apt to attribute you getting through that to a higher power? Or do you think that you would have been more apt to attribute it to something else?
Higher power.
You'd still attribute it to a higher power?
To me, a lot of atheism ties back to people's reluctance and resistance to organized religion. And that's just my opinion, my experience.
Okay. How does that relate to, I'm just kind of wondering how that relates to the question of you getting through the difficult time in a culture where the majority of people didn't believe in any gods, you'd still attribute it to a god.
You said the majority, there still remains a minority.
Yeah.
I would be part of the minority. I'm part of the minority now.
Okay. In a culture where 90% of the population didn't believe in any gods, you think that you would have been in the 10%?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
From the experience that I had and the fact that I hear different drum beats than most people.
What does that mean?
I don't conform like most people do mentally. And when I find myself conforming, I find resistance to it.
Okay. Your life is better because you have a tendency to go against the grain.
Yes.
Okay. But we don't live in a culture where the majority of the population doesn't believe in any gods. At least in this culture. I don't know where you've lived your whole life. Have you always been?
In the United States. I've traveled extensively globally.
Have you been to Texas most of the time? Or?
I've been here about 20 years.
Southwest? Okay.
I'm from Tennessee, so I spent more of my life in
Tennessee,
Tennessee.
okay. So Tennessee, Texas, I would say that that's probably largely a culture that believes in a God.
Not only is it a culture that believes in God, it believes that people who don't believe in God are going to hell.
So how would that be living against the grain? Like if you were a person who lived against the grain, wouldn't you be a person that didn't believe in any gods?
No, I would be a person who didn't let someone else tell me what I could and couldn't believe in and how I need to believe.
Okay. How did you determine that you are not believing in a God because the majority of the people around you were?
Because I had gone through some things in my youth, with religion or church was forced upon me, and it was a church that I saw the hypocrisy in, and so like a lot of people, I rejected the church, but I still felt a connection to a higher power or something, a longing.
Okay. Okay, well.
That was fun.
That was really fun, man.
Thanks.
Thank you, dude.
You bet.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
let me give you a card.
Okay.
I think I've probably seen you here on the trails many times,
yeah, you
right?
asked me one time to do it, and I was today I'm off work. So normally I'll come take an early lunch and hike for an hour and then hop right back into work.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't have time that day, and then I saw you seen you a couple times, but you were talking to somebody already. I thought, I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm really interested in what he's doing. I admire from standing out there.
Yeah. This is probably one of the first times I've come out and actually been cold.
Yeah. This is really
Usually it's hot and I'm craving water. Yeah, that was smart.
Gloves, yeah.
All right, Milton. Well, thank you very much. Feel free to email me and maybe we can chat again sometime.
You bet.
Take it easy. Bye-bye. I'm always a little cautious when somebody says the main reason for their God belief is because they got through addiction. And I'm sure you probably noticed how carefully I was treading there, even going so far as to tell him that I was being cautious with my questioning because I don't want to cause him any harm. I was a little startled when he mentioned faith during this conversation. I wasn't expecting it. I thought he might have other reasons for it, but it came up fairly quickly. Milton, it appears, was one of these individuals who has seen me out here several times. I think curiosity got the best of him, and he had a little bit of time to chat with me while he was stretching. The most interesting part of this conversation for myself was how we started talking about the meaning of words and how he feels when he encounters word changes. For a long while now, I've had this curiosity about word usages in relation to street epistemology. And that came up when he started talking about truth. And I asked him, well, what do you mean by that? And then we had this great discussion about the meaning of words and how the usages of words can change over time and his reaction to that. That then morphed into how he responds to social changes over time, referring to cell phone usage in public as an example, which I thought was great. Then we brought that full circle and came back to his belief, where he seemed to take some pride from thinking that he was different from everybody else, saying that he goes against the grain. Now, I gently challenged him on that after discovering that he spent most of his life in Tennessee and Texas, and yet, even then, he started to quibble about how he was different than all those other people. It was almost as if his need to be different superseded his need to be believing in something that was true.